Good morning and welcome to the 445 Productive Through Joy Show with your host and your boy, Dr. Michael Datcher. The show airs each weekday morning, hella early at 4:45 a.m. here on YouTube's Michael Datcher channel at 4:45 p.m. on Facebook Live. Guys, today we're talking about miracles. Man, such an interesting topic because that particular topic seems impossible because people think that miracles are impossible. Well, they are if you don't believe they're possible, that's for sure. Even if you do believe, the possibility of manifesting them is a challenge. So we have all of that in store for today. So thanks for joining us here. Let's just dive into the topic. So guys, we're talking about miracles today because they have a multitudinous impact. So it's just the belief, working up to a belief that what seemingly is impossible through science and/or through rational explanations, the fact that that's possible, believing that that's possible, simply just by itself expands the mind, and expands possibilities on what is possible in the world of human phenomena, right? That enough. If you get to that point, you've already won, right? The other piece, though, is if you can actually, that's point one, which is point two, if you can actually do a thing, help to co-manifest a thing, bring a thing that into existence that seems to be basically impossible, it's a way to really empower yourself, right? And empower those who you love. It isn't about just trying to self-aggrandize or get $1 million or to make the car levitate, although those are pretty cool things if you can do that. It's about being able to demonstrate also to those in your spheres of influence, your family, your friends, your relations, your partner, intimate partner, what they also can do. Because in the realm of metaphysics, it's science, so anyone can do it, basically. If you apply the techniques and do the essential, do the basic and essential work. Although it's simple, but in my experience, it's not easy. So, which is really point two. It's doing the work. So I guess the question people always ask, well, how do you manifest a miracle? What are you talking about? How do you make a miracle thing happen? Well, it's predicated first on the idea of knowing what I like to call the infrastructure of miracles, the idea that all things are related. All things come, as we learned from 10th grade science, all things, all energy cannot be created or destroyed. That means it just changes forms, which means that if that is true, which is true because we know that from science, although some people, as we know now, don't believe in science. It's crazy. But that's another show altogether. If it is true, and it is, that energy cannot be created or destroyed, it just changes forms, that means that all that was here in the beginning of what we call a time is still here in some form. So in the ancient Kemetic or ancient Egyptian belief, they believe that in the beginning there was just one thing, and that one thing basically subdivided itself into a series of subdivisions, including it today, so that one original thing is still manifest in many forms all over the globe. Speaking only of here on this planet, right? Although we know there's way more material and matter in the world than Earth, but it's easier to think about Earth. And so that means that original primordial creative impulse, that thing is everywhere, and everywhere has to also include, let me clear my throat, inside each of us, inside of me, for example. It's the same qualitative entity, so it has the same substance, not the same quantity. So if I were to go to the ocean and get a thimble of ocean water, that's still the ocean, but it's a much smaller version of the ocean. So the idea, and that's the best metaphor I can think of, is that's the idea that I'm speaking of, that we have the same, you and I, we have the same creative impulse, the same original primordial energy that is and was what I'll just call God. But you can call it by many names. You can just call it energy, you can call it Yahweh, you can call it Jesus, that's whatever you want to call it. But God, we have that God spirit energy inside of us. That's just science, right? Because energy cannot be created or destroyed, it just changes forms. So we have that creative thing inside of us. So we can we are made of the same substance as God, right? And so, and if you know even a little bit about spiritual beliefs around the world, the defining principle about almost every single that I've read about spiritual belief system, about the God entity, I call it God, one love energy, is that God, one love, is a creator, created the world, it's the creator. Same in Egyptian metaphysics. I mean, so many belief systems have that basic idea. There is a progenitor, a creator. So if that is true, and I think it is, whatever name you call it, that energy, that creative energy impulse, that imperative, you also have that inside of you, as do I. So at our core, we have the creative imperative. We have the power to create. We are creators at our essence, right? So the thing is, well, how do we tap back into that ancient primordial energy? How do we use that energy, right? Hopefully for good, but to create things. So if you know this show, we talk a great deal about meditation, yoga, different ways to commune with the spirit, to return to the inner life, the inner power inside of all of us, and to access that primordial energy, which is still here, and then to bring it forth. If you can just grasp that just idea and come to believe that, it's best to do your own reading, your own research, because once you know it for yourself, it's way better. That the power is stronger. So, but as a foundation, that you're made of the same substance as the original energy, the original progenitor, the original God. You're made of the same thing, right? If you know the Bible tradition in the Old Testament, in Isaiah, repeated by Jesus in the New Testament, he quotes Isaiah, which is when Isaiah says, "Ye too are gods." But that came straight from Egypt. It's very clear that Jesus, the historical Jesus, certainly studied in the Egyptian mystery systems, because that's straight from the Egyptian mystery systems, or the Kemetic mystery systems, that ye are God, that people are gods. And so, meaning creators, all right? And again, it isn't about self-aggrandizing, it's about being able to be your highest self, right? Calling forth your divinity, right? That we all have. So once you could just get to that basic step, then it's about applying some of the techniques. The techniques that I use come from that Kemetic, that Egyptian mystery system, right? Visualization, meditation, going into trance. There's various modalities of it, and different practices can do the same thing. They have their own ways to access it, but I haven't found a system better that I can access than the Egyptian system. So I use that system, right? Meditation and trance and visualization and breathing work. And you start with something that you kind of believe you can do, because that's the other kind of the mystical part of it. You have to believe it, which I know for many of us who are scholars are like, what? But you have to believe it. So, but if you place it in the context of other and different